Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, I have a couple of great articles to read to you today, folks. One has several encounters with various aquatic cryptids, and another, an invisible entity, perhaps a Glimmer man, was seen in this store. Either way, folks, let's get into this first article, Aquatic Monsters, Historic Encounters with Waterborne Beasts, and read exactly what people saw back in the past. From Kentucky's colossal Green River monster, which devoured a horse in 1904, to Florida's Crystal River whale that nearly capsized a boat in 1914, and Kansas's horned serpent that attacked fishermen in 1909, these historic accounts reveal a forgotten era of bizarre freshwater cryptids. Were these river beasts misidentified creatures, or something far stranger lurking beneath America's waters? Indeed, folks, if this is all true, maybe there is something to it, that there is something in the waters of America that can't be explained so easily. But let's get into this article and read the first monster encounter. Green River Monster, Owensboro, Kentucky, October 1st, 1904. Recently, reports have surfaced about a colossal monster seen multiple times in the Green River. The following story is now confirmed. There is a great deal of excitement regarding the river monster that has been spotted several times below Rumsey. It recently devoured half a horse near Wrightsburg. The monster was observed crossing the river at Rumsey on Monday night. Its size is estimated to range anywhere from that of a horse to that of a house, with some claiming it could be as much as 200 feet long. The correspondent did not specify the condition of the horse when the monster consumed it. Residents of the Rumsey area are now theorizing that the creature might be a seahorse that escaped from a circus. The Paducah Evening Sun, October 1st, 1904. Big fish on Crystal River, monster sighted by party from Port Inglis, will be sought by hunting party. Mr. J.W. Gilly of Port Inglis reported that while traveling up the river last Sunday with L.R. Brown, H. Sweeney, and W.H. O'Urian, they spotted a giant fish about 1 mile from Crystal River near Miller Creek, according to the Crystal River News. As they approached, the creature made a tremendous splash that nearly capsized their party, and Mr. Gilly realized that it was a grumpus whale. With extensive experience on the open sea, he confidently asserts that he can identify a whale when he sees one. He estimates the creature was between 45 and 50 feet in length and noted that he had not consumed anything more substantial than coffee that morning. Several other people have reported sightings of the whale in recent days. There is talk of organizing an expedition to capture the fish using harpoons. The Pensacola Journal, August 9th, 1914. There is also a note that comes with this story, folks. A grumpus or killer whale, as well as a Riccios dolphin, is a rare sight in ocean waters, especially in brackish rivers in and around Florida, even in 1914 lawn. And then finally we come to the serpent in Kansas. The Renfield Free Press gives the account of the monster. A peculiar amphibious creature has been reported in the Walnut River, drawing attention away from the legendary sea serpent of the Atlantic coast resorts. This sighting was made by W.H. Kinney and H.G. Case while they were fishing near the mouth of Black Creek on Wednesday. Kinney showed signs of a struggle with a deep cut on his wrist that he claims was inflicted by the river monster when it attempted to board their boat. While fishing for bass and channel catfish, the two men were startled when the creature leapt out of the water after a fish that Case had just caught. Initially, they thought it was a giant eel, but its second appearance was far more alarming. The creature approached their boat closely in pursuit of the fish, revealing its long horn on its snout and measuring approximately 6 feet in length. Its facial features resembling those of a catfish, but the sharp horn was a distinctive difference. It was this horn that caused Kinney's injury. In an unexpected move, the strange visitor managed to crawl over the front of the boat before the men could regain their composure. It impaled a bass that was resting on the bottom of the boat before slipping back into the water. As the creature re-entered the river, it slapped its tail with such force that it sent a fine spray of water into the air, drenching and temporarily blinding the fishermen. Norwich Bulletin, August 27th, 1909. Very interesting story, isn't it, folks? Did these people actually encounter these river or even, I guess, maybe ocean monsters, folks? Because the idea of them encountering such things is almost too unbelievable to actually ever take seriously, but maybe they did. Either way, folks, let's move on to the next story, and then afterwards we can talk about this story and, well, the one we just read. Invisible force at Walmart. Strange distortion encountered in Eureka, Missouri. And let's go on and read this story, folks, because it sounds very interesting. A Walmart worker in Eureka, Missouri heard heavy thuds on the awning and pavement, only to see a strange heat wave-like distortion vanish before an automatic door opened, triggered by something unseen. The incident left him stunned, suggesting the presence of an invisible but physical entity. Was it a Glimmer man? Perhaps. Let's read his actual story for ourselves, folks, and then we can, evaluate it. I work unloading trucks at Walmart in Eureka, Missouri, which is a second shift job. On June 30th, 2023, I arrived at work approximately 1:40 p.m. and entered via the lawn and garden entrance, which is usually gated and closed but remains open for a couple of months during the start of summer when we have plants outside. I entered the gated area and approached the automatic doors to enter the store itself when I heard a loud thump as if something had hit the awning above the entrance. I thought something had fallen or landed on it, something fairly heavy. My first joking thought was it must have been a really, really fat raccoon. That's what most people would probably think, isn't it, folks? But he was about to see that it wasn't. In fact, he was only going to basically be able to make it out partially in reality, folks, because what he was about to see was nearly invisible. So let's read on. So I looked up and there was nothing on the awning from where the sound came from, except there was a weird distortion of the air, much like what you see on hot pavement in the summer, maybe 3 or 4 feet in height and about 2 feet in width. That's what I thought it was, so I just shrugged and started to walk towards the door. Then I heard a thud in front of me. I didn't see anything, and I looked up again and the distortion was gone. I thought this was odd, but I didn't mind, so I started walking toward the door once again. I was still about 20 feet away from it. When the door opened, there was no one there but me, and I was still too far away for me to trigger it. I just stood there stunned for a couple of minutes because the implication was that there was something there, something that I could only hear but not see, and that the door sensors had picked it up. I can't call it a cryptid or an alien since I didn't see it, and it evidently had weight, so it's not a ghost, just Weird J. But, folks, it sounds very similar to what we've seen and basically read about before in various stories, folks. It sounds like he did indeed encounter a Glimmer man, or even maybe an invisible Bigfoot, because they've also basically been described in much the same way. But then again, it sounds like basically this entity was no taller than a regular person, folks, so unless it was a juvenile Bigfoot, I don't see how it could basically be one of these invisible Sasquatches. Either way, it's still a monumentally bizarre story, folks, and just one of several we've read today. Now, do you think that this guy is telling the truth, folks? It does sound, or should I say, he does incredibly sound sincere about his experience. So maybe he is indeed telling the truth here. But if you look at the last few stories we read about today, folks, with these encounters with these lake and, I guess, river monsters, now, what's the difference between them? Well, our friend here, who basically says he saw this Glimmer man, his story sounds more feasible at least, right? But is that because it sounds like it could happen? Because the stories with those river monsters, while they could exist, folks, they just seem far-fetched. And they do sound like tall tales you'd hear about some guy talking about his big fish he caught around a campfire or the monster in the woods. But that might be the problem here, folks. Maybe these encounters do happen, and sometimes over time they change and they become more fantastical. But other times, like with our friend here who says he encountered some sort of invisible man, because, well, in this account, folks, for the most part, he couldn't see this entity. At first, he saw this heat distortion, which sounds very similar to other Glimmer man accounts, but other times, he encountered something he just could not see at all. Literally, this creature was invisible. So, does that mean that these entities are getting stronger? That whatever is behind it, perhaps technology, if they are government agents, folks, has been improved? Or is it possible that these entities have just become far better at being not noticed? We don't know. But folks, we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics They're Bad For You. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions or the chat to go subscribe to me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure to hit the part of the bell that'll give you all future notifications. And please, share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video. So be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.